There we are.
It's the Roots and Remedies show.
With Krupa.
And Jim.
Welcome, everyone.
Welcome, everybody. And, you know, this week, I'm not in Florida.
Where are you?
I am in Ohio.
A beautiful state. A beautiful state.
It's beautiful, actually, up here. Yeah, I'm in Ohio. Jason and I and Ronnie came up to Ohio for a few different things, and just getting a chance to enjoy family on both sides, because obviously Jason is from Ohio, so we're up here with all his family pretty much. But my cousin, my first cousin, he and his wife and son and her whole family live in Cincinnati. So
great.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to be up here visiting family and just enjoying the sights and relaxing and laughing. And we've actually had a lot of laughs. We've had a lot of laughs. A lot of laughs.
It's important because all those endorphins really are released.
Yeah, endorphins are totally released because of the laughing. And you know, today's topic is all about feeling good and learning how to combat stress.
Yeah.
And you know, I think it's really important, you know, to remove yourself from your environment here and there, because we kind of get in a routine which becomes redundant, and through that, you know, we become stressed through everyday life.
Yes, that's what vacations are so important.
Yeah, that's exactly why vacations are so important.
Right.
And laughing is important when you're on vacation too. So I don't think I've laughed this hard in such a long time. I mean, I laugh a lot around in our house. Jason always makes me laugh, and our kid, you know, the kids and family and everybody.
That's important in a relationship, making each other laugh.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you know what? Life is so stressful. It just is. It's so stressful. And we all have stress. We all have different types of stress, and we all have different support systems and coping mechanisms. And so it's challenging, but you know, being able to come home and laugh with one another and try to, you know, put the day behind us and decompress,
and it's
not take life so seriously is important.
To see the humor in so many different things.
What's that?
It's important to see humor in different things.
Yes.
That you don't normally think of as humorous.
No, and you're good with that, Jim, because I don't know, you do some stand-up comedy, don't you? You've done some before.
I've taken acting lessons.
Yeah. So it's great. So
I've written
laughing,
monologues for auditions. So,
yeah.
And those are stressful, but you have to find the humor in them.
Absolutely. I mean, even it's funny because we were having conversations up here. We went to an event for Ronnie, and it was a great all-day event. And one person we were talking to was like, you know, it's so busy in these events, it's exhausting. But when the cause is good, you know, it makes things lighter and easier. So even doing like the most fun things sometimes, but I'm just talking about some things. I'm not talking about really taking a vacation. I'm talking about like those people were setting up an event,
right, and
they were working. But they somehow decided, well, in their mind, yeah, we're working, but we're working for a good cause, you know? So I guess my point in this particular conversation is that we need to find humor. We need to find lightheartedness and enjoyment in everything that we do, and look at things half full rather than half empty.
Right.
And the positive things, even if the negative things outweigh the positive, try to focus on the positive things.
Definitely.
You know. So
that helps reduce stress immensely.
it helps reduce stress. It helps reduce stress. So, you know, I was down, Jason and I and Ronnie were in Cincinnati visiting my cousin and his wife. And we got into this pretty intelligent, long conversation about stress and how everybody wants to be able to have fun and relax, but people do it differently. Some people overindulge in food. And you brought up mindful eating, which we should talk about. But people overindulge in food or alcohol or, you know, things that are not necessarily so healthy for us.
Right.
But it's almost like, well, you know what? I'm so stressed out. I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway, and let's take the edge off. But then from that, too much of those overindulgences create additional stress.
Right.
So it's about balance. It's really, truly about balance. Being able to balance, you know, stress with some fun and with activities that feel good, but not overindulging to the point where now we're defeating the purpose of, you know, having those activities.
Anything in excess is not healthy for you.
No.
But when you're having a good time, you sometimes you don't think about it and you do overindulge. But
yeah, I mean, our country, you know, our country has a really, you know, it's been that way for years, but we have an obesity issue in this country. And the reason I'm bringing that up, I'm talking about kids, especially kids. You know, there's so many preservatives out there in foods and stuff. And
I was going to mention processed foods.
Yeah. Processed foods. And so it feels good. Okay, I'm going to go out and have an ice cream, and then I want to have a piece of cake, or, oh, I want to have a few more beers than I want to, or I want to do a little extra this or that. And, you know, okay, that's fine once in a while, but I think it's becoming more of a norm in our country. So just trying to talk a little bit about how to work towards a healthier way of decompressing and a healthier way of dealing with stress. So I think that's what we should be talking about today.
Right.
So stress comes in so many different forms, you know. Women, for example, have postpartum depression.
Right.
After having a baby. I wanted to bring that up because I don't think we've ever really talked about that on this show before, or since the relaunch of our show. Postpartum depression is real, and a lot of women just want to get back to their bikini bodies or their bodies pre-pregnancy, and not every woman has a smooth delivery where the hormone levels are gradually declining and getting back to, you know, a healthy place.
Right.
There's a lot of women that do struggle with postpartum depression, and it can be really heavy. And so I would say to those women not to, number one, be too critical of themselves, because they're not the only ones that are going through that. They might feel like the only one, but there's a lot of other people, a lot of other women that are in the same boat. So just rest assured that there is support. But I think that it's really important for women, as well as people who are just battling depression in general, to try to wake up early in the morning and take some time for themselves.
Right. Especially when you're having a baby, naturally that's going to take precedence.
It takes so much. It takes so much out of you. And I know sleep schedules are not easy when you have babies and such, but like even when the baby's down for a little bit, try to take a walk. And it's, again, we're talking about women that are going through postpartum depression, but I really feel like it should be anybody that's battling depression.
Right. A little change of the scene.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah. So like wake up early and just go out, take a walk. And, you know, right now it's summertime, and like I said, we're in Ohio, so when there's no snow, and so most of the country is it's fairly decent weather where people can get up and go out and walk. So I think number one, in depression, regarding depression, if you're struggling with depression, getting up early in the morning and you know, trying to go out and breathe the fresh air, take a little bit of a walk. If you have a dog, you know, hang out with the dog. If you don't have a dog, you know, just take a little bit of a walk. And I would suggest not even taking your cell phone with you. Keep that at home, because I feel we're tired. That's also stressful, don't you think, Jim?
Yes, because that's occupying too much of our time, and the whole idea is to be out enjoying nature, not on the phone or looking at the phone. So definitely would be important not to, if you have it with you, just keep it in your pocket for an emergency, but don't be referring to your phone when you.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of us need to try to, we do need to take time out of our day and take our telephones and put them down, put them down, and, you know, enjoy
also
a little bit of
physical activity is important too.
Yeah, physical activity, actually endorphins, and then the serotonin, which is the good feel chemical, is released. And so we start feeling good. And when you do that in the morning, when you start your day off in the morning with a walk or a bike ride or just, you know, even a swim, doing something happy and light and physical, you know, activity in the morning kind of sets your day up for success,
Right.
And, you know, you already feel positive that you've accomplished something. And when you put that time into yourself, that's the biggest accomplishment. Because when you're putting yourself first thing in the morning, you put yourself first.
Right.
It's the biggest accomplishment. Now, I know that there's women out there and men that, you know, don't really have that much time. You know, they come home from a long day of work, and there's a little bit of time for rest, and then it's sleep, and then it's time to get up and walk out the door, right? And so most people, that's kind of like their schedule. You know, they come home, they eat, they maybe watch some television, interact with family and friends, hit the bed, and then sleep as long as they can, get up in the morning, have their coffee, and they're out the door. But that becomes a really bad habit.
Right.
So in terms of herbs, I'm going to bring up some herbs that are really good, like for tea. So chamomile, I like to bring up chamomile. Chamomile is really good for depression. Lemon balm and chamomile. So those the combinations of both are really good. And I wanted to make a point is that anxiety is like the precursor, really, because when you have so much anxiety in your life and it's untreated, that will turn into depression. So then those indulgences that you and I were just talking about with eating fast food or sugar foods or fried foods or too much alcohol and sweets and such is what we kind of go towards.
Right.
And then we really don't feel good the next day. It's almost like, when's the cycle going to end? So
well, they make you lethargic, a lot of those foods.
It gets lethargic. It really does.
Compounds the situation.
100% compounds the situation. And, you know, I think so many of us,
I mean, this time of year, you have delicious melons that you could eat. You know, some of the wonderful fruits.
So fruits are natural. I love that you brought that up, Jim. I mean, it's natural sugar. We do need sugar, but natural sugar
Right.
and the correct amount is important for us. To stay hydrated. And I don't know. I mean, like melons are really great for hydration, and a ton of antioxidants, tons and tons of antioxidants are in fruit, especially melons and berries. And Pineapple has bromelain, which is an enzyme that helps the digestive, system, or helps break down proteins and fats and carbohydrates. So, and that helps with the nausea as well. I love papaya. Papaya does the same thing. So getting up in the morning. What was that?
The beauty of the fruits is that you don't have that heaviness in your stomach, which makes you even more lethargic and not wanting to actually do anything.
Yeah,
so the fruits, vegetables, nuts, I mean, all those things, so much more healthier and just set you up for a more positive experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Eating those types of foods regularly is really important. And I mean, I definitely would suggest maybe like after you get up in the morning, you take your walk, you take some time for yourself. Journal is really good to kind of put your thoughts down. I think a lot of us carry too many thoughts in our mind and not enough communication. And it doesn't have to be necessarily with anybody if they don't feel comfortable to communicate, but to write it down, to write their thoughts down on paper and get that out, and then set up an agenda for the day is really good.
A friend of mine actually once said that to me, and it's always stuck. Writing something down frees your mind, which it does.
Frees your mind.
You're not forced then to be thinking about that any longer. It's
Yeah. Because I think part of the pressure is overthinking, analyzing, keeping it like you're keeping it up here.
Right.
It's so heavy. So you are not present. You're not present in the day and you can't function. And that's an added stress. Like, but I think people are afraid to like delegate or give that, responsibility to a loved one, or share that responsibility with a loved one or a friend or, a trusted person, because we can't do everything alone. Nobody can. Even your multi-billion-dollar corporations need people.
Yes.
People need people. We're social beings. We need to support each other. We need to help each other. And, so if you don't have the support system, and if you don't have the feeling to be able to communicate with somebody, I think it's really important to write that on paper, making things tangible and just releasing it. That's the perfect word, Jim, is actually releasing it, releasing the weight, releasing the pressure and off your mind. And when that happens, you're actually releasing stress.
Right. And while we're talking about food, why don't we talk about mindful eating a little bit too? Yeah,
mindful eating. So, one
thing a lot of us fail to do is to eat slowly.
Yes.
And chew the food.
It's so true.
Savor those flavors. Some people put salt on everything, and foods have beautiful flavors. If you just learn to appreciate the flavor of the actual food, you don't need to heavily.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. You bring up such a good point about eating slowly. It seems like everybody's in a rush, right? You're late for having breakfast in the morning, so you're in the car and you're eating your food in the car.
Right.
And so it's almost like your speed on the road is your speed that you're eating. So maybe we should drive slowly.
There's so much to enjoy about the food when you think about it. There's colors of the foods, the scents, the odors, the taste, the textures. Some things, everything tastes differently in the mouth. be aware of the different textures of the foods.
I know it. You say something that's interesting because Yasmin, oh my God, my parents, even though my mom and dad always say about Yasmin, she should be a chef. She just should. She loves food. She always tells me, she goes, I love food. She bakes and she's baking and cooking and creating food all day long, all day long.
Yeah.
And, but I love it because she's actually mindfully eating, because what she's doing is she's not going out and buying food that is, you know, filled with, you know, GMOs, you know, genetically modified ingredients and such. She's
and fillers, you know, how they put a lot of fillers.
Yeah. She's really taken the time to create. I mean, she made a a potato leek soup from scratch the other day. In addition to like baking bread and making some other types of meals throughout the day. So, and the reason I bring her up is because she's very well organized. And part of journaling or writing things down, especially in the morning when you get up and having a plan, is to create some type of schedule where, yeah, you're working, but here's some time just for me, just to do something that I love that's healthy. It's towards making me relaxed. And so Yasmin, I mean, she's going for her master's next, and she works really hard, but she somehow finds the time, because that's what she's interested in, is to cook and you know. So I'm really proud of her because she's very conscientious of what she eats, and she's very organized and such. So, not to get off too far off the topic, but yeah, in terms of mindful eating, I think I mean we definitely need to slow down and chew our food and savor our food, because there's really just a 20-minute clock. There's a ticker. So the minute you put food in your mouth, you have 20 minutes to eat that food until you're full.
That's important.
So if you have like a humongous plate of food and you scarf it down,
right,
and you're still hungry, you know, 10 minutes later, you're going to keep on eating way more than you should really be eating.
Yes.
You know, and then that 20 minutes is up. And you're not just full, you're just about to burst, and you get nauseous and you get sick, and that's slow digestion, slow metabolism, you know, too much stuff that you shouldn't be putting in your body.
Your body has to break down all of that, which, number one, as we said, if you chew, that's so important. That aspect of eating is so important before you swallow. And some people just chew a little bit and then they swallow. Now your body, now the rest of your body has to break that down.
Yeah. And really, you know, but you're correct. And to touch on that, so when you slowly eat, definitely you're chewing your food and you're helping with your digestion. And you're not eating more than you should.
Right.
It also helps absorb the nutrients better. Now, we have acid in our stomach that never stops producing. It just never stops producing. And we need to utilize that acid in our stomach effectively.
Right.
And the purpose of that is to help break down and process our foods. So mindful eating is really important so that we don't create any type of upset stomach with the acid. You know, it's a process. It's a process. So
and I don't know that everyone realizes that the body absorbs food in the mouth, you know, so if you eat slowly, you get more absorption in the mouth.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. And it is. I mean, we need to absorb the nutrients
in
our body.
And that leads to
So
your overall welfare by eating that properly in that manner.
100%. I don't like those medications, you know, those proton pump inhibitors, like you know, Prilosec or the Zantac, and you know. So we're talking about stress. Stress creates so much excess acid. So with those medications, they basically stop the production of acid.
Right.
But there's side effects to that.
Sure.
We don't need to stop the production of the acid. We need to eat mindfully so the acid doesn't accumulate in our digestive system so much to the point that we're creating now an ulcer, you know, because it's going through the mucous membrane, or we're now, you know, having acid reflux or GERD.
Right.
So I do not like those proton pump inhibitors. The acid is there to use to break down food and absorb nutrients, and so we should be eating every few hours, you know, for, you know, blood sugar purposes and just overall health and wellness, you know. But yeah, we can continue. So with eating, definitely we're talking about fruits, vegetables, you know.
Seeds and nuts are so important.
Nuts are so good. Nuts are so good. All types of nuts are really, really good. Yeah. Nuts are great. You can get protein from the nuts, legumes, you know, lentils, beans. I mean, there's just so many different kinds of ways of getting good nutrients and protein. An egg is good for protein, to keep yourself healthy too. Balancing is really the key.
Yes.
Is really the key. So I think like writing that stuff down. I create menus as well. I create menus. When I do my consultations, you know, I help people individually create a plan that's, you know, meant for them when I do my consultation. So
that's where everyone gets to call Krupa for a consultation.
Yeah, call me for a consultation.
The menu.
Yeah, I can create the menus as well.
Live your best life with Krupa.
Yeah, and Jim, You know, I want to say this before, you know, we sign off. I am going to be teaching a tea class at the Bonita Springs YMCA. Gosh, it's the second Thursday in August. I have to double check I'm on vacation. See, I'm really like, I got to double check my calendar, but I'll post it as soon as I have that date. But I'm actually teaching a tea class, an herbal tea class that's geared towards the Alzheimer's members.
Yeah.
We can pick up on this a little bit more next week, because the teas that I am going to be creating and talking about medicinal benefits to these Alzheimer's patients or members is going to be teas that are going to be helping, you know, cognitive function, and, you know, so memory, concentration, and just a lot to do with, you know, mind, the mind.
Right.
So there's a lot of great tea combinations. I'll name one that I love as an Ayurvedic.
Give us a little tease.
Bacopa is one of my favorites, but not that many people are aware of Bacopa. But if you go into like a health and nutrition shop and look for a focus type of tea or focus supplement, chances are you'll see Bacopa in there. And it's an Ayurvedic herb, and it's really great for focus and memory.
Yeah.
And memory.
You know, that
So,
mindful eating, when you think about the mindful eating again, it also affects your emotions and your relationships, because
100% emotions
yeah,
and relationships.
if you have these
100%, you know.
digestive issues, you're not going to be able to have a good emotional experience with your loved ones or whoever you come in contact with.
Yeah, it's true. I think that's why, going back to that routine in the morning, getting up in the morning and having some time for yourself, whether it's a brisk walk or swimming or on your bike, you know, get up a little earlier, even half an hour early, read a book, do something for yourself. But I would say definitely couple it up with writing down an agenda for the day and keeping somewhere in that day or your agenda time for yourself.
Right.
It's really important to have more time for yourself.
And if you read the book, maybe go outside and read it outside. So you're
something that's enjoying. It's like that creates happiness and laughter and fun, and then, you know, it'll be easier to de-stress, and also not, you know, and then be mindfully eating.
Right.
And you know, we can talk. I could talk more and more. I know our show's pretty much wrapping up for this episode. But I'll be back home next week, Jim.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing you again next week.
Yeah, next week, and I can't wait. And I think we should talk more about stress, and depression, and anxiety, and mindful eating, and how to balance.
That's the answer.
Life.
Balance in life. Balance in
life. Really, that is the key.
Yes.
Is balance in life. And I'll say one thing, because I think we talked about this. I don't know which episode it wasn't. Maybe the last one, the one before, and you had brought it up. Remember, I told you, like, Jason's like, you know, good with, when are you taking care of yourself? Like, he just bought me this amazing bike for my birthday.
Right.
You know, I actually posted it on Facebook. He totally surprised me. I had no idea. But we had talked about, because I used to ride bike as a kid, and growing up in South Florida. So he got me my beach bike. But that is something that he and I love to do together. And, you know, riding bikes in the morning or in the evening, that's de-stressing, and you're doing physical activity. So it's all about balance. It really is all about balance and putting yourself first, and that's okay to do so. So anyway, thanks, Jim. It's always great seeing you.
Remember to live your best life with Krupa.
Thank you. And Jim, RootsNRemedies.net, www.RootsNRemedies.net, or you can find us on our Roots N Remedies Facebook page, Instagram, and you know how to reach me. If not me, Jim, I'm sure you guys know how to reach us. So anyway, hope everyone has a great rest of the week, and looking forward to see you guys next week.
Thank all of you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Talk soon.
Yes.
Bye.